AITA for uninviting my mother to my wedding after she invited FIL. I am not Oop. Oop is you, independent, foot 8485. He posted in our AITA. I fixed a few spelling errors for readability. Trigger warning. Child abandonment. Less than. Mood spoiler. Mostly okay. Less than. Original post. November 6, 2022. My fiancé, 29F, and me, 34 meters, are getting married in 2 weeks after 13 years of friendship and 4 years of dating. She's fantastic and our relationship has been so good for the both of us. Planning the wedding has been uncomplicated and fun. We included my mother a lot. For example, my fiancé took her dress shopping. The reason is that my fiancé has always had a good relationship with my parents. And it grew much closer over the past year. After her mother died, they kind of see her as another child, and I know that fiancé appreciates that immensely. As for my fiancé's father, she went NC when she was 15. Even before he hadn't played an important role in her life. His behavior was one cause in her having depression and low self-esteem. It took her years to heal. She's happy with the way things are now. I never met the man, so neither of us considered inviting him to the wedding. My mother, however, won't understand why we won't invite him. Mom is a retired psychologist. She's had some experience with children-parent reunification, and she thinks my fiancé needs that. Even more after fiancé's mom's death. Fiancé and me both have shut my mom down plenty of times. We both made it clear that this man was not to know anything about my fiancé's life, nor would be welcome anywhere near the wedding. For a while, my mom shut up. My mom doesn't know fiancé's father. The other night we had dinner with my family. My mom had an announcement. Apparently she looked my fiancé's father up and went to see him. Then she invited him to our wedding. She seemed so pleased. My family was appalled and angry. They all know what has happened. My fiancé somehow remained calm and told Mom how inappropriate that was. How Mom hurt my fiancé terribly by stepping over the one boundary she ever had. How fiancé had lost all her trust in Mom after this. I then uninvited my mom and we left. Fiancé only broke down at home. My mother's also been inconsolable since and called me dozens of times. But I haven't picked up yet. Fiancé feels unsafe to have the wedding if there was a chance that her father might show up. We might just cancel the whole thing. My father, who's not condoning any of my mother's actions, thinks I should talk to Mom. Hear her out. My siblings agree that uninviting her was too drastic. I just see the distress my mother had caused my fiancé and get angry all over again. So AITA for sticking to our decision? Edit. This is a throwaway account obviously. Edit 2. This really blew up, didn't it? Thank you all for your advice and perspective. It's truly heartbreaking how many of you have estranged relatives and can relate to this. I'm sorry. I met my dad earlier. He's really sorry for what my mom did and how he'd pushed me to listen to her. At first I told him that my fiancé was the person hurt in this. That it was really up to her. Dad did offer to cover additional costs we might have now. Both siblings called individually to apologize to fiancé as well. IDK what to make of it just now. It's a good start I think. Haven't talked to Mom though. Also, my fiancé's bill had a good idea regarding the wedding. We might do it earlier. That way we'd at least keep the venue. We're still figuring details out. But it might actually work. Edit 3. Thank you all so much for the comments and advice. There is a lot going on right now. We'll post an update when things settle. Fiancé sends her thanks. Relevant comments. Someone says they agree what the mom did was awful. But Reddit moves to NC too quickly. Thank you for your vote. My fiancé said that her family was already torn apart by her father's actions. There shouldn't be a second one. We both hope to find a good way forward. As a first step, I'm meeting my father later tonight. We will see how it goes. One commenter asks what mom was expecting in all of this. I suppose she expected gratitude and maybe that having a second parent would help fiancé grieve her mom better. She often thinks she knows what's best for her children. She, however, never trampled boundaries to this extent before. Until now it's been limited to advice and recommendations. So I don't know how to deal with all of it. People are shocked that as a psychologist OOP's mom tried to pull a stunt like this near a big emotional event. She specialized in child psychology. My fiancé has said once that maybe my mother doesn't realize how much situations might change with age. Fiancé said she'd been open to reconciliation when she was younger but that it's too late now. Still no excuse emo. In response to that, someone compliments the fiancé and shares a bit about their own life. She is extra awesome. She's always this reflective, maybe due to all the therapy she did. I'm sorry that you can relate to her experience. Nobody should be able to. One more comment that sums it up. Fiancé believes that her father doesn't deserve to know about her life since he contributed nothing to her well-being. Him now knowing things about her is one of the biggest worries she has. She said she feel violated and exposed. I don't think I can understand her feelings. All I know is that she's in a lot of pain. As others suggested, I might bring up the possibility of hiring security. I am tempted to send the invoice to my mom though. Rescheduling and relocating were our first instincts. Which both sucks as the date and venue. The restaurant of my fiancé's bill. Both carry meaning. I worry that the whole wedding, no matter how we proceed, would be tainted by my mother's actions. And yes, I'm worried about her father coming back too. He's a very sickly old man apparently. So I wonder if he might look for a chance to set things right before it's too late. And that he might see this as his opening. The more I think about it, the more angry I get. Update post. November 28, 2022. This is the update repost to my first post. Since a bunch of people asked for one. First, thanks for all the helpful comments, insights, and awards. We were very overwhelmed and grateful. And thanks to the mods for helping with this update. I've never had a post get this much attention and didn't know how to do this. The biggest thing is, we are married. In the end, my wife's sister and Bill saved the day. Originally, the wedding was on the 18th at BIL's restaurant. That was the date and place where we went from friends to dating 5 years ago. On the day of the op, wife went to see her sister. They suggested having the wedding a week earlier. On the 11th, it felt like the best option. Bill was willing to do the work. Because wife is like a sister to him. His team and him got a generous tip from my dad. Wife, Sil, Bill and I told all the guests save my family of the date change. Wife didn't want to tell people why. Amazingly, everyone made it work except for 3 people. My family was told the morning of the wedding. Just to make sure wife's father would not have time to come to the wedding, as he lives 15 hours away from us. My family didn't complain because they knew that they messed up. It was all a bit stressful, but my wife felt like a spy on a mission and had fun with it. I was glad to see her get excited again. And there was no sign of her father at the wedding. So I guess mom finally listened. In the week before the wedding, we met my family to talk several times. These were long talks. Why my mom did it? She just thought she knew better. No excuse other than arrogance. They all apologized. My wife said, one family torn apart by her father's actions was enough. She insisted that they were invited. So that was that. However, we made it clear that contact with her father would be punished much harder in the future. Especially when it comes to children. It's forgiven but not forgotten. I guess. As to what wife's father found out from my mom, apparently not much. He knew a bunch already. From my wife's eldest brother. Mom filled in gaps. That brother is the only of my wife's siblings that was still in touch with their father. Brother and wife were on thin ice before that already for many but different reasons. Yes, we let that brother attend the wedding. Mostly because we didn't want more drama. But we'll tackle that when wife feels ready to do so. We did have a honeymoon to get to first. All in all, I think we are fine. Wife is very hurt still. More so by her brother's actions now. With my family, we'll work on it. The imminent threat is dealt with. Now we start fixing the damage. Through it all, my wife was amazingly calm and reflected. It made me much more grateful that I get to be with her. Wishing Oop and his wife a wonderful marriage and future together. Always with the forced reconciliations. And at a wedding too, no less. How is that supposed to work? Oh hi everyone. Before the bride comes out we just gotta quickly get a decade or so of emotions and issues out of the way so dad can walk her down the aisle. Wow. His mother was totally out of line and I can't believe someone with her professional background would do that. I would never trust her again and wouldn't tell her anything important in my life. Life pro tip. When people cut off their family there's usually a pretty good reason. Just go ahead and respect it. They're way too nice about Oop's mom. Not understanding the difference between children and adults is not excuse for inviting an abusive parent to a major life event for reconciliation. Anyone without degrees and schooling should know that. Psychologists with savior complexes really need to not have the institutional or social power they have, bar none. Even if she was a child psychologist, I legitimately cannot help but feel like she's yet another walking malpractice dispenser due to her brazenness. This one make me think of a Dear Prudence. I think it was Dear Prudence. Could be wrong. Mill wrote in for advice on how to regain babysitting privileges. Dill was no contact with her dad due to abuse during her childhood. Mill knew better and invited the estranged father over during her day of weekly babysitting. He ended up hurting one of the kids. Son and Dill, quite rightly, went low or no contact with her. Mill felt it was all the DIL's fault for not spelling out the abuse she suffered in graphic detail. Prudence did tear her a new one. How can someone like Mill be a psychologist? Geez. I guess we should just be grateful that she couldn't give out medication. I think often the parents that pull this nonsense are actually thinking that if the person can cut off their own family member, it will be even easier to cut off the in-laws if they do something wrong. So they basically have to get the person to reconcile because the in-law in question knows that they're going to be stomping boundaries left and right. So they just can't have a person with a healthy self-esteem around. Glad they changed the date and I hope OOP's mom has learned her place. It would have been completely out of line and inappropriate to arrange for the father to meet with his wife at some dinner or family event. But her wedding? That is just beyond horrifying. I can't get over how inconsiderate and delusional the mother is for thinking that such a gesture could possibly end any way other than badly. No, this relationship absolutely cannot be saved. I can't believe the audacity of the mother thinking she had any right to pull something like this. And I'm genuinely frustrated that the update is trying to make it seem like everything is fine and dandy now. The mother will definitely continue to cross boundaries in the future. And I don't think she's truly learned her lesson yet. Just because she's a psychologist, it doesn't mean she's a good one. Mom is a retired psychologist, say no more. Where on earth did Mom get her license? The upside down. even if it was a good idea to force a reconciliation. Spoiler: it's not. Doing it at the child's wedding is disgusting behavior. He never said his mom was good at her job. This is honestly my greatest fear with my boyfriend's mom and my pos bio mom. I hear lots and lots of, well, she's still your mom, and it can't have been that bad. Big props to Oop and her wife for handling things so well. I would have struggled to be so gracious or forgiving. Fiancé would be well within her rights to report this woman to her workplace or whatever entity granted her a professional license. Mill tried to treat someone in her personal life as though they were her patient B, even though she is an adult and not a child. C. By going against her explicitly stated position regarding her comfort level with someone the Mill does not know and has never met, and D. Invited an abuser to a place where they would have access to and contact with a known victim of that abuser. Despite her previous awareness of all of the above, about once a year or so I run into a therapist who makes such poor choices in their personal life, and those around them with such confidence, that I really worry for their patients. Some psychs are so obsessed with the morality of reuniting families that they ignore the reality that some are broken beyond repair. Your wife is amazing and I wish you both a long and happy life together. My fiancé, 29F, and me, 34 meters, are getting married in 2 weeks after 13 years of friendship and 4 years of dating. If I am mathing right, what kind of 17-yo-m is friends with a 12-yo-f? And if I am not mathing right, what kind of 21-yo-m is friends with a 16-yo-f?
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.